Jay Cutler, Vanderbilt University.
Matt Forte, Tulane University.
Brandon Monomalayuna, Arizona.
Devin Hester, the U.
Johnny Knox, Abilene Christian.
Greg Olson, the U.
Franco Miguel, Tennessee Tech.
Roberto Garza, Texas A&M Kingsville.
Olin Krutz, Washington.
Lance Lewis, L.B. Landry High School.
Kevin Schaefer, Tulsa.
The ball at the 39-yard line for Jay Cutler with 6 touchdowns and 2 interceptions over the first 3 games. And before he goes to the air, we have a flag for a false start.
False start, number 68, offense. 5-yard penalty, first down.
Carl Sheffers, that's Frank Omayal, who is playing left tackle. He normally plays on the other side, but Chris Williams is down tonight again. So Omayal gets the start and gets the penalty.
And this offensive line for Lovie Smith has really been shuffled. They struggled early on when Chris Williams went down, but seemed to settle down last week.
On 1st and 15, they run a delay, and the Bears trying to get their running game on track. Matt Forte to the 37. No bigger deal last year than when Jay Cutler came over to Chicago and the town went wild. It wasn't a good start for him. He threw 4 interceptions on opening night, a Sunday nighter at Green Bay. Then the team got hot, but then they wound up with a mark of 7-9. He didn't have a good year. He's the first to admit it. He has a new offensive coordinator. We'll talk a lot about Mike Martz tonight, and feels a whole lot better about 2010. Devin Hester lines up now in the backfield, and they flare him out, and he takes the swing pass, and that's a great one-arm tackle by Corey Webster. 123, not letting the other out of his grasp. 3rd down.
Well, the Bears come out with 3 receivers to the right side, and then are going to just try and flip the ball out to Devin Hester and make him a punt returner here. Just get the ball in space, and you expect him to be able to make the first guy miss, but Corey Webster, that's terrific.
3rd down and 10. Opening series of the game. This time they flank Hester wide to the left. Forte is the back. He stays in the block. Cutler under pressure. And Cutler gets taken down to the 34-yard line by O.C. Umenyiora. So the Giants, despite those penalties, despite missing Kiwanuka, a very good defensive first series against Tennessee. On the roll to his right, Manning hit as he throws, and the pass is underthrown and incomplete. Intended for Steve Smith. He was on a roll. Tim Jennings was covering on the play, and Julius Peppers almost got to Manning before he released it.
Well, one thing you know when you play against the Chicago Bears, they're going to play so hard downhill with their linebackers that they're going to just all the time when you show run, they're going to attack. So you have to go play action. You have to go bootleg. And here Steve Smith was wide open down the field, and Jennings able to recover because the ball wasn't thrown that well.
Peppers getting there an instant late, 2nd and 10. Quick flip to Smith, and he gets taken down immediately by Jennings at the 23-yard line. And let's take a look at Peppers, who is probably the most coveted free agent acquisition of the offseason.
And Julius Peppers is allowed to go to either side that he wants. It is at his discretion. He will start the game by going left and right, and then sometime in the second half, just pick the guy that he thinks he has the easiest path against and sort of stay on that side.
3rd and 3. A little toss to Bradshaw, and he moved in behind Boss, who had set up on the right side, making that the strong side, but not enough to pick up the first down. So the Giants come up a yard shot, and the shot right there is across the Hudson we come. The Bears with their 2nd series, and that's a quick flip, and they're doing a lot of that lately to Earl Bennett for a gain of 7. Here's the Giant defense.
Justin Tuck, Notre Dame.
Barry Cofield, Northwestern.
Chris Canty, Wahoo Wah.
O.C. Umenyiora, University of Troy.
Clint Centum, Virginia.
Jonathan Goff, Vanderbilt University.
Michael Bowling, Southern Miss.
Corey Webster, LSU.
Antrell Roll, the U.
Kenneth Phillips, BU.
Terrell Thomas, USC.
Wahoo, a.k.a. the University of Virginia. They swing it to Forte, and the running back, who is a good pass catcher and fits in very nicely in what Mike Martz wants to do with his offense, picks up the first down. The tackle is made by Webster.
Pretty interesting. Watch Olin Kreutz go out and through to lead this play. This is almost like a one-man running screen here. Flip it over the top and pick up the first down. Olin Kreutz, the old guy, getting it done up front. This is such a young offensive line and reshuffled, inexperienced offensive line. Olin Kreutz makes all the line calls up front and is absolutely critical to their success.
Kreutz in his 13th year, 6 Pro Bowls for the Chicago Center. And Cutler under pressure again, and down he goes again. And that time it's Canty from Wahoo, and also Justin Tuck.
I thought the biggest difference in watching the Giants play a week ago was Chris Canty playing inside here. He is just an absolute load against the run game and the pass game. And if they're going to try and block him one-on-one with Roberto Garza, they're going to have a problem. And not to mention their best defensive player, Justin Tuck, coming from the other side.
Second sack of Cutler already tonight. So the Giants, knowing with Kiwanuka out, they had to pick it up front. Have done just that early in the game. On 2nd and 19, Cutler to the 49-yard line to Bennett. And that's something Cutler does so well. He can throw almost like Brett Favre-like. Throw off balance, throw moving backwards, takes the deep drop, rolls a lot, throws from outside the pocket. Can do anything.
DVR is allowed.
Yep. Because of the weather, the Ryder Cup extends to tomorrow. From the 20-yard line, the Giants now. Their second possession. Bradshaw cuts it back. And Bradshaw turns what would have been almost no gain into a first down. A gain of 11 off a block by Chris Snee, Tom Coughlin's son-in-law.
Well, the new center playing for Sean O'Hara is Adam Coates. See him right in the middle here, working against Brian Urlacher. You also see Lance Briggs jumping to the outside, which is really what created that cutback opportunity. Good job by Bear Pasco seeing that stun and turning out on Briggs.
At the 31-yard line on first down, Bradshaw. And with the Giants, Bradshaw and Jacobs sharing the duty, but Bradshaw is the #1 guy. Let's see the Bear defense right here.
Israel Idonijah, Manitoba.
Matt Twina, Oregon.
Anthony Adams, Penn State.
Julius Peppers, North Carolina.
Kisa Tino Isamoa, Hawaii.
Brian Urlacher, University of New Mexico.
Lance Briggs, Desert Swarm, Arizona.
Tim Jennings, Georgia. Chris Harris, Louisiana Monroe.
Danielle Manning, Abilene Christian. Charles Tillman, the University of Louisiana.
And now they give it to Bradshaw again on an inside handoff on a first down, and Manning chasing him and finally knocks him out of bounds. And Snee again with a good block up front, and
Wouldn't be surprised to see a few extra holding calls today.
And you saw Manningham with a little bit of a hold, and he put his hands up to say, I'm innocent. Jacobs is in the game, the fake to him, and then the pass is complete to Nix for about 9.5 yards. Showing hotel accommodations when they first were on Tony Dungy's staff back in Tampa Bay. And here is Brandon Jacobs on first down, taking the ball to the 35-yard line. So for Jacobs, a couple of years ago, he's the bull. He's the stud. He's the guy who's going to just blow you out and blow you over. And then last year, he tailed off. And then this year, he starts the season as the #2 guy. And on opening day, he had Bradshaw carrying 20 times and Jacobs carrying 12. We saw Tom Coughlin the next week, and he says that's about the ratio I'd like to see.
Well, and Jacobs has hurt himself with some pass protection, too. He's missed a couple of blitz pickups the last few weeks and given up some sacks.
2nd and 7. Manning short drop, and then the pass is deflected, and almost another interception on a deflection. Manning this year was 6 picks. 5 of them have been tipped or deflected, and almost another one right there, 3rd down.
Tip passes have been awful for the Giants this year, and Charles Tillman is sort of the master of this. Don't think that was an accident that he tipped that ball up. The Chicago Bears probably work on creating turnovers more than anybody else. In practice, they don't blow the whistle, whether it takes 20, 30, 40 seconds until they strip the ball out of the running back's hands.
And it's paid off through all of Smith's tenure going back to 04. And on 3rd and 7, the pass is caught by Nix. A spin around move to get away from Tillman. And then he's forced out of bounds at the 10-yard line.
I tell you what, this is an awesome route by Akeem Nix. Watch him at the top of this. As he's catching the ball, he's going to make a move. He catches, as it's coming into his hands, he ducks his shoulders to the left. The defensive back reacts that way. He spins back to the outside. That is a savvy move for a young player. Got Tillman completely. Beautiful.
Giants' #1 pick in the 09 draft out of North Carolina, 29th overall. First down, they spotted it at 12. Look out, and Manning just throws it into the ground because he saw DJ Moore, the corner, coming uncontested on a blitz. He saw it and he just threw it into the ground incomplete.
You know, it's interesting. Eli threw that one away, but I thought it had a chance. You know, see DJ Moore coming off this side, but see if Eli had lobbed this over the top, there really wasn't anybody left back there. He was going to have some blockers, and I think Bradshaw had a little room to run because Urlacher came on the blitz and nothing really back there.
Second down and 10, the ball at the 12. Bradshaw is the back, kicks goes in motion. They give it to Ahmad. He stumbles as he tries to cut it back to the left. Third down, Mark Anderson will get credit for the tackle.
Go
ahead.
A lot of things going on up front now for the Chicago Bears. Of course, Tommy Harris has been such a great player, Al, over the years and was so instrumental in their Super Bowl run. But he's no longer starting. He had a really bad performance against the Dallas Cowboys. Was sat out a week ago, inactive. Back in there now, and he really needs to make an impression.
Harrison, also Henry Milton, number 69. Along the defensive front. Empty backfield. Shotgun snap. Manning throws. Caught. And it's Smith who gets taken down at the 4-yard line. And they went to the Super Bowl. Jamarcus Webb comes in, the rookie out of West Texas A&M, 7th-round draft choice. Along the offensive front, the ball at the 21-yard line. Forte to the outside, and he gets taken down. So the Giants off to a good start defensively tonight. Justin Tuck is there to make the tackle.
You know, it's interesting. Justin Tuck is, I think, without question, the best player on this Giants defense from the ability to do everything. And yet even Justin Tuck has had some poor plays lately, and they really need him to be a superstar. You can't say he hasn't played well. He just hasn't played great yet. And if the Giants are going to get this turned around, he has to be great.
Bears have run 9 plays, and they have 13 yards. On a couple of stunts up front, get it to Hester on the screen, and then he gets knocked down by his own man, Edwin Williams. Knocks him down well short of the first down. We talked about March and what he's done, but the other thing that March does, because he is such a riverboat gambler in a way, take a look at that. Turnovers between 99 and 05, his team's had the most. Sacks, 5th most. 06-07 with the Lions, 2nd most in turnovers, most sacks. And then with the 49ers in 08, most in both categories. So give it and take it. He gambles a lot. He takes a lot of risks. You can say he's reckless. He says, I'm aggressive, not reckless. 3rd and 5. Cutler swings that one, and it's at the 29-yard line, almost picked off by Terrell Thomas.
You want to get that thing down and turn the laces. He didn't either.
To the 28-yard line now on 1st down. They give the ball to Chester Taylor. So Forte comes out. Taylor was picked up from Minnesota. Did a great job, especially in 3rd down situations, coming in for Adrian Peterson.
But he hasn't really been much of a factor here. You know, the running game for the Bears really has not been very good at all. And Matt Forte essentially is the same kind of player that Chester Taylor is.
Stadium in East Rutherford, New Jersey, across from the parking lot from where the old stadium stood. Chester Taylor is the back on 2nd down and 11. The pass is made on the outside by the tight end, Greg Olson. Like to split him quite a bit. Terrell Thomas making the tackle. It'll be 3rd down and 7.
It's kind of interesting that when the Bears start having protection problems, Mike Martz, instead of bringing people in to block, spreads them out. He wants Cutler to be able to see what's happening, and just like in the Dallas game, when Cutler was a little unsettled, he went back to the spread sort of a look and let him make some quick throws to get his vision back where it should be.
Now he has protection in the form of Olsen and Maliuna. And Cutler will roll out, and he'll throw and get hit. And Krutz comes up with it because Osi Umenyiora almost forced an interception or a turnover, and the Bears are lucky that Krutz was right there.
The young quarterback and veteran receivers, believe me, they're not listening to him. They're asking him to listen.
From the 30-yard line, and Manning goes down, and that is Israel Adonijah getting Chicago's first sack of the night. But Chris, who would have thought, as they work on Cutler on the sideline, here we are on the 3rd of October. If the Giants win tonight, there will be one undefeated team of the 32 in the National Football League, the Kansas City Chiefs.
Parity reigns supreme in the NFL, but this is, you know, it's what we have. But you still have to think that the Pittsburgh Steelers, with what they've shown so far without Ben Roethlisberger, now they get him back. If you're looking for a team, in my mind, that sort of sticks out a little bit early on, that would be the team.
They almost ran the table without Ben, but lost in the last minute today to Baltimore. Screen set up. Bradshaw is taken down after a gain of just a couple. It'll be 3rd and 18. Anthony Adams making the tackle.
And Anthony Adams, a guy that Brian Urlacher just loves. He says that, you know, we've got a lot of good young players up there, and I don't want to say anything bad about anybody, but I know what Anthony Adams is going to do on every play. If there's a big play, a big moment in the ball game, I want him in there. I trust him that much. I know what he's going to give me.
3rd and 18. Harris is in for Chicago. Fake inside handoff, and this is Boss. And Boss brings it out to the 34-yard line, 6 yards short of the first down, and they'll punt.
I'm telling you, he may get cut at halftime the way he's going.
From the 35-yard line on first down. Cutler, and he's going to go down again, and the ball is loose. Tuck got him, and this is Forte who's able to cover it up. So again, they get the Cutler. The Giants putting enormous pressure on up front, and that's the 4th sack of Cutler in the first 19 minutes of the game.
Well, once again, trying to block a defensive end with a tight end, and Justin Tuck makes Brandon Maliuna look bad. Jay Cutler's got to figure this out. The Bears and Mike Martz love holding the ball and letting their guys work down the field. But it's obvious at this point that will not work. You cannot hold that ball in that 7-step drop against this pass rush of the Giants.
And the forecast call for the possibility of rain, and we have some sprinkles right now. 2nd and 22. And Forte will get bottled up. No room at all. In the middle, it's Chris Canty having a good first half. It'll be 3rd down and 19. In the drizzle. There it is.
Well, maybe that's what Bears and Giants are supposed to do. It rains and a little cold, and bring out some great veteran football players and put them in the Ring of Fame and get out your ponchos and all that stuff.
Somehow we went from summer right to winter. We passed fall. Chilly tonight.
Welcome to the Meadowlands.
3rd and 19. Butler stepping up. Look out from behind again. It's the sack fumble, and the Giants have it at 29, and that's Osi Umenyiora. 3 sacks for him, 5 in the game. Deion Grant with the recovery.
A little bit. He cannot hold it at that 10-step drop.
From the 20-yard line, they give it to Forte, and he'll spring to the outside and pick up 7 yards. Terrell Thomas comes up to make the tackle. It'll be 2nd down and 3 as we approach the halfway mark of the 2nd quarter.
Yeah, I think if you want to say there's a big question mark about the Bears, you know, they will get some different kind of weather in Chicago as we move along here. Are they good enough with this remade offensive line and their current running game to win games in poor weather? And this is a pretty good test of it here tonight.
2nd and 2, and now you've got Greg Olson.
False start, number 82, offense. 5-yard penalty, 2nd down.
And you know, Al, that's really a killer. You got a big run on 1st down. You're going to have 2nd and 2. So you can play pass, you can run, you can get your offensive line moving forward a little bit. And now you're right back to, 2nd and 7.
From the 23-yard line. Short drop. Cutler gets protection this time, but the secondary does his job, and then Jay is forced to scoot out of bounds at the 21-yard line. He's run out by Cofield.
I tell you, Corey Webster's been doing a nice job so far. Jay Cutler was trying to get a quick one into Johnny Knox, but once again an Antrell roll ran underneath that one. But for Jay Cutler, if I were Mike Martz, I'd say, listen, if I call a 3-step drop, you either throw it on 3 steps or throw it out of bounds. I can't have you scrambling around on those plays trying to turn something in or nothing into something.
Officially, that goes down as a sack as he was chased out of bounds. So that is the 6th sack of Cutler. 3rd down and 9. Jay, and you can see him starting to lose his footing on what's becoming slick turf, and that is Tuck there. And the Giants have now put him down 7 times. Actuating the skyline, the Giants now have the ball at the 47-yard line on 1st down. And now they go to the air. Has protection. Has to swing it to the outside. And Madison Hitchcock will get taken down out of bounds by Jennings after a very short gain. And Pisatino Samoa, 2nd down.
All right, here we go with Tommy Harris in the middle again here. Good job by the Giants up front, sort of passing him off. He does hustle, get back into the ball. And for Tommy Harris, it's been a bit of an embarrassing time. His buddy Lance Briggs said that he has been humbled by the fact that he was sent to the bench and expected a fiery performance.
And look out from behind, and here comes Peppers, and he gets the ball loose, and he creates the sack fumble, and the Bears get the turnover.
I tell you what, somebody put a 10 over this circus. This is unbelievable.
And it's Peppers with the sack and fumble, and Urlacher with the recovery. Brian Urlacher with 5:07 to go. It's the ball back for Chicago.
And for David Deal, it has been a tough year for the Pro Bowler that was a season ago. And for Julius Peppers, he said he would test the waters with both tackles. I think he's already made his decision about which side he's going.
And it's Chicago's ball at the 48-yard line. So now Cutler. Wow. Unbelievable. This is incredible. Cofield. That is 8 sacks of Cutler. Chicago tonight, that's their 21st play. And they're averaging less than a yard a play.
Well, nobody can block in here. Here comes Cofield, and he's basically going to have 2 guys on him, and he just splits the difference between Olin Kreutz and Lance Lewis. And why they continue to throw the ball, I don't know. Before that play, they had 15 passes for -4 yards, and you can make it about -11 or 12 now.
Well, you saw Mike Tice, the offensive line coach. He has to be thrilled. Looks like a 9th was coming there. Here's Forte. And he pays the price at the 39-yard line. Chicago tonight has run 22 plays, 5 yards.
Wow. Lovie Smith, believe it or not, he likes this kind of game. You know, he likes the defense and the turnovers and sacks, and so this is good for him. Well, this is just going to be a strange night, Al. This is just going to be one of those nights maybe decided by the punters.
Only thing Lovie can like is that the way the Bears have played, they're only down 3-0.
I tell you don't want to turn it over here now.
3rd and 18. Cutler flushed out again, going against the grain. And Cofield will run him out of bounds, and Cutler just flips the ball away. Side, he would like it, not from this side.
He's got a few on his side, too.
Record for a game is 12. 2nd and 3. And flip it to Hester. He's going to get a first down up to the 16-yard line. Excuse me, Chester Taylor up to the 16 and a first down.
Well, once again, nice job by Greg Olson. He's had a good block and a good catch coming out here. And the Chicago Bears, they really don't believe in bringing fullbacks on the road with them. They use their tight ends as blockers, and we've seen Manu Maliuna and Olson do a key block on that one. Here's the spread. Good luck.
Edwin Williams at right guard replacing Lance Lewis. They flip up front, and Cutler down again. Aaron Ross becomes part of a new sack exchange, and that sets a record for most sacks in a half. That's 9 officially.
Well, you look like you're going to get out of the half, and then here you go. But again, count. When you are going 5-man protection now, you've got to throw it. Even if you throw that ball out of bounds, when you hit that back foot, think of Kurt Warner. Think of the way he ran this team. You never saw Kurt Warner trying to pull it down.
Well, Al, walking off the field at halftime, Lovie Smith had no answers for the 9 sacks of Jay Cutler other than they have to block better. He said they've tried personnel changes, scheme changes, nothing worked. As for Cutler holding the ball too long, he said if you've been hit that many times, you'd be skittish too. As for what did Tom Coughlin say to his punter Matt Dodge at halftime, he said, I just encouraged him, told him to do a good job.
Well, we'll see what happens in the second half with him and with the Giants. His defense has been great, but his offense has been sputtering as Bradshaw gets taken down by Julius Peppers. The Giants have now gained 97 yards in the game, and the Bears 22.
Look how athletic Peppers is here. Goes inside David Deal and then is still able to get back outside and catch Ahmad Bradshaw. This guy was a phenomenal basketball player, and I tell you, Lovie Smith thinks he is just the best. He said money changes some guys. It just made him better.
Second and 11. And that's a nice screen set up with a good block thrown. And Hicks, working off that block off the screen, is able to turn it into a nice little gain. It'll be 3rd down and 3.
Rich Seibert, whatever his name is, going to come out here and make a really nice block. This guy can run for a big man. He used to be a tight end in college. They moved him to left tackle and finally to guard. He was probably as surprised as anybody when he originally made this New York Giants football team. A backup guard got injured in the final preseason game, and that's how he made it. He's been around for a long time.
Longer than any other current Giant. Been here since 01. 3rd down and 3 at the 38-yard line. And Manning's going to go deep for Manningham, and the pass is incomplete. Might have leaped a little too early. No flag. Coverage by Tim Jennings, the former Colt. We'll get the report on Cutler, who hasn't come out of the locker room, who took so many shots. Concussion is now what they're telling us. And Todd Collins, who's had a really wacky career, gives it to Forte. Collins has now been in the league 16 years, mainly as a backup. Was a starter with Buffalo in '97. And before we continue with him, where did Cutler get the concussion?
Well,
second to last play of the half.
Aaron Ross
right there.
got him, and you could see his helmet just slammed to the ground at the end of that sack. Watch this. A little whip right down to the ground. That was it.
2nd and 7. The ball is at the 33. Collins is going to give it to Forte. So Collins comes into the league. He's a backup in Buffalo. In 1997, a million years ago, he's the starting quarterback in Buffalo. Then he goes back to the bench. Then he doesn't take snaps for a couple of seasons. Then he had a moment in the sun at the end of the '07 season with Washington, with the Redskins. He comes in, he leads them to 4 wins. He leads them into the playoffs for Joe Gibbs against Seattle. And one of those big wins was in New York. But for the most part, here's a guy who's been in the league 16 seasons and has carried a lot of clipboards. 3rd and 5. Forte. Tuck, Umanura, and Deion Grant. The Ring of Honor for the Giants unveiled tonight. Brandon Jacobs starts as the running back on first down. Fake to him and then the pass to him. And covering on the play is Tino Samoa. And again with Jacobs unhappy with his role, the backup right now, and tonight he's carried the ball one time, Chris, and caught one right there.
Well, and you know, get sort of a rainy, wet night, and you think, well, if they're not going to play him tonight, when will they play him? And the surprising thing about Jacobs to me is that he's probably a better catcher of the football than Bradshaw is. I mean, he really has some pretty soft hands coming out of the backfield. I think most teams kind of think of him, he's going to run it when he comes in the game.
John Andrews is now the left tackle. Deals the spot. Jacobs taken down up to the 21-yard line. More on Brandon. Here's Andrea.
Well, Al Jacobs told me he's resigned to his role this season. He said he doesn't care that he's not starting, but he's frustrated he hasn't had the chance to be the physical back that he says he knows he can still be, and that it affects him mentally and rhythm-wise. He told me he has not asked for a trade, but he doesn't want to be back here next season under these circumstances, and he didn't think the Giants would want him back either.
Probably right on both counts.
I would say so.
3rd down and 4. From the 22-yard line. And Manning protected well, but then the pass is knocked down, and who else? Julius Peppers at 6'7", going up in the air, bats down passes. Of course, tremendous prowess at blocking field goal and extra point attempts, and gets up in the air to bat it down.
Yeah, Pepper's going to come up, go back, then come back up, jump up. Just doesn't matter what he does.
Survivor. And Wilson's from New Jersey, so Greg playing at home tonight, and his offense trying to get something going. And that's Forte, and Forte now has carried the ball 8 times for 20 yards. So that's 2.5 yards a carry. And coming into the game,
that's about it.
Yeah, that's about what they're averaging.
Yeah, it really has been. And because of all the movement on the offensive line, there really is no coordination. And talking to Matt Forte this week, he said, you know, I understand that our running game now is more geared towards my catching little passes in open space and out of the backfield than it is getting handoffs.
2nd down and 9. Collins throws over the middle. Hester, and Hester is able to get away from Boley. And come close to picking up a 1st down, forced out by Kenny Phillips. Let's go back and look at Cutler's first half.
Yeah, and Todd Collins, nice job getting it out of his hands. But this is what was happening to Jay Cutler. He's looking left. He sees the blitz. He had to see Aaron Ross. There are 3 defensive backs, 3 wide receivers, which means if one blitzes, one's open. Earl Bennett was wide open, and I have no idea why Jay Cutler pulled it down. And he got a concussion out of it. You throw into the blitz. If you see a blitz left, you throw it that way because somebody is going to be open quick.
3rd and 1. Chicago has 2 first downs in the game. They still have 2. Jonathan Goff made sure he didn't get out of the backfield. 4th down.
Well, you just could have never imagined that Jonathan Goff would be a factor like this in the game. You thought that, okay, the Bears were going to come out and throw it all over the place. Their plan was they were going to pick on Jonathan Goff in pass coverage, and instead it's turned into
Chili Cincinnati.
would have come 10 years later anyway.
From the 10-yard line, Bradshaw spinning around and tackled up at the 13-yard line.
Well, I tell you, you watch these Chicago Bears attack the backfield. They have more tackles for losses on running plays than any team in the league. And the way they do it is they really try to set hard edges on the outside. And then they just fly those 2 inside linebackers through there. And of course, Brian Urlacher, a former safety, and Lance Briggs, a guy, and piece of Tino Samoa, they just shoot straight ahead, so it's tough to run against.
2nd and 6. And that's caught by Smith, and he can't spin away from Bowman. Zach Bowman making sure he doesn't pick up the 1st down, and that'll make it a 3rd and short.
You can't hand them the game here.
1st and 15. And Bradshaw. Tino Samoa.
I'll tell you, Julius Peppers is just a blur. He's just a blur. I don't know how you block him. He's 300 pounds, and he has moves like this. Watch this one. Jump inside, miss the fullback, jump back outside, just set it up for your guy. I don't know what they paid him, but it wasn't enough.
He goes back to Carolina next week. You think he'll be active?
I think.
He just said it was time for a change. Played out the string with the Panthers and moved on to Chicago. 2nd and 17. And that's caught up at the 29-yard line by Hakeem Nicks, and that is a first down. And tonight, that's a neon lights play. 21 yards.
Well, and they're starting to help up front. They brought Sean Andrews in to help with the protection, and that allowed time for this route to get down the field. That really was the key. They had 7-man protection up front, brought in the extra offensive lineman, and for the first time, Eli able to sit back and survey the field a bit. You see the Bears going after that ball. That's what they do.
21 yards on the 2nd and 17. Bradshaw, there's a big hole over right tackle, and that's another first down. Back-to-back first downs. Danielle Manning, the safety, comes up to make the stop at the 46.
Well, now we're starting to get some movement up front. Big Chris Snee coming off the ball, getting up to that 2nd level right here. And now when you start catching those linebackers on the other side of the line of scrimmage, they also have Coates with a good job filling in for Sean O'Hara. Now the Giants are starting to look like the Giants.
4:15 remaining in the 3rd. And time, pump fakes, finds the open man again at the 30-yard line. And that's caught by Travis Beckham, the number 2 tight end. Beautiful protection off the fake, and then Beckham somehow gets free amongst the quartet of defenders for a gain of 25, and that's 3 consecutive first downs for the Giants.
And because of the success running the football, it comes back directly. Watch Urlacher take a little step up, and all Beckham does is just get in behind him and wait. Urlacher's playing the run. Now he's going to try and get out late, but he only gets about 7 or 8 yards depth, and there it is.
Number 28. Bradshaw, another big hole. Cuts it back. Inside the 10 and all the way down to about the 2-yard line. And Charles Tillman saves the touchdown. Rich Seibert pulling and leading the way, and what a convoy.
Anytime you see a guard turn the corner and start heading up the field, you know you got to play. Seibert's going to turn up the field, knock out Lance Briggs, and it was on. Starting to give this offensive lineman a chance to move down the field, and for Ahmad Bradshaw, you see why he's playing over Jacobs, that open field ability.
That's a 25-yard gain. This drive started back at the 10, down the field rapidly, 1st and goal, Bradshaw. He gets stood up and then powers his way into the end zone for a touchdown. Legal sell any merchandise. Of the 20. Chester Taylor starts as the running back. The fake, and Collins to Olsen on the screen, and that's only good for 3 yards. 2nd and 7. Again, if you joined us late, Jay Cutler had a first half, as did the Bears offense, to forget. Suffered or sustained a concussion, and so Todd Collins, who's made 10 starts in a 16-year career and went 10 years between starts, but had a fantastic end of the 2007 season at Washington, has to lead the Bears, and he's down by 10.
But this is his kind of game. This short, read it, get it out. He can do this.
2nd down and 6. Oh, and his arm comes forward, and the ball is picked up by Taylor. The Giants are going to try to say an incomplete pass. Michael Boley put the heat on him, and if his arm was coming forward, he threw it to the ground, but it is incomplete.
Well, one of the reasons they bring that kind of pressure up the gaps like that is it forces those backs and tight ends to step up and try and make that play. But at some point, they've got to get settled on this offensive line. You can't allow that kind of immediate pressure to get to your quarterback.
3rd down and 6. With an empty backfield right now. Collins, and that's on the pocket, holds up, but the pass is short. Intended for Hester. 4th down.
No.
On that. From the 37-yard line on 1st down. Back to Bradshaw. Bradshaw now with 16 carries and 86 yards. A good many of those on that last drive. Mark Anderson makes the tackle, and we tick down toward the final minute of the 3rd quarter.
I tell you, the Bears defensive ends make a lot of plays. That time Mark Anderson coming down the line. You just wonder maybe if Eli is starting to think a little bootleg action here. Anytime they're crashing that hard to try and stop the run, you have some opportunities. Well, Brandon Jacobs and Ahmad Bradshaw over the years, it looked good early on. You always saw the huge numbers, and even 2008, a lot of big runs in that one. 5 yards per carry, 5.3. Jacobs starts to go down a little bit, 3.7 to Bradshaw's 4.8. So Bradshaw stayed pretty consistent. It's Jacobs that's sort of fallen off.
Clock down to 22 seconds. 3rd down and 4. And that pass is incomplete. 10-0 Giants against the unbeaten Bears, and Collins runs into Forte, and then it's going to be picked off by Jason Pierre-Paul. Flag is down, and Forte will knock him out of bounds. So the rookie draft choice, #1 out of South Florida. It was the middle linebacker Goff coming in. Collins also ran into the back, and let's see if it's going to be roughing the passer. Collins did take a hit after.
There's 2 fouls by the Giants on the play. Unnecessary roughness, late hit number 54 after the interception. That penalty is declined. Personal foul, roughing the passer, number 54. Contact to the head of the quarterback. That penalty is accepted. 15 yards, automatic 1st down.
That's an exactly you don't want to hit.
No, it's not. This play started to fall apart when Matt Forte got in the way of Todd Collins, and no question about it. One of the things that happens to pass rushers is they want to get their arms up sometimes, but that was just helmet to helmet. But watch Matt Forte pre-snap here, saw the blitz coming from Antrell Roll, tried to jump across the face of Todd Collins. Watch him come this way and run into Todd Collins and basically create this issue to start with.
And then another foul after the Pierre-Paul interception. So it's 1st and 10. The ball is at the 46-yard line. And Collins will throw, and he throws that behind Olsen, who was able to adjust, looking toward the sideline to haul it in at the 35-yard line.
Boy, what a throw that was by Todd Collins. You're talking about a veteran look here. Watch him working against Boley here down the field. Back shoulder all the way. Perfectly executed. It's amazing they could have that kind of timing. I guarantee you Todd Collins hasn't thrown that ball to Greg Olsen maybe once since training camp ended.
That is a great point. Boley's got him completely covered on the inside. Collins goes to the outside. The Bears all of a sudden with a 19-yard gain. Have it at the 35-yard line. And now Collins has to just dump it off over the middle. And that pass is incomplete with the pressure on him. 2nd and 10.
Well, we have seen some better pass protection out of the Chicago Bears, and mostly it's been Matt Forte who's gone over and helping Frank Omiyale as best he can over here, because obviously they couldn't just let Osi Umenyiora take out all their quarterbacks, and forcing Osi to kind of use those bull rushes now instead of his speed. Second down 10.
Play fake, finds time. And then the pass is picked off at the 8-yard line. Deion Grant with the interception for the Giants. Ball is at the 8-yard line as Manning starts this drive with a roll to the right off the fake. And then Smith is able to make the catch for a gain of 9 yards on the far sideline. It'll be 2nd down and 1.
Steve Smith, really a terrific route runner, and you'll see him finish this over here on the end of that play. A lot of receivers will stop coming back to the ball right there. Here's Julius Peppers, who's been a little quieter, and Deal happy to get the help from his back too.
2nd and 1, and Bradshaw, he escapes a would-be loss in the backfield. He broke away from Peppers. Peppers would have had him down for about a 3rd and 4, and instead he spins away and moves the chain until tonight. And that's 2. 3rd down and 10. Pressure on, set up the screen, and Bradshaw will come close to getting the 1st down, depending on the spot. Seibert again leading the way and set up perfectly because the heat was on and Manning waited and hits Bradshaw, and they had a lot of running room.
Well, this time they bring the slot blitz again off the edge. DJ Moore is going to come in here, and you can't have a more perfect call than this. Pressure to your right, screen to your right, and look out. Chris Snead down the field leading the way along with Rich Seibert. That's a big 1st down.
And Bradshaw writhing in pain on the ground after that last play and grasping his left ankle. So that means Jacobs. And Jake, look at the fumble and the penetration that time. And that was Anthony Adams who creates it, and the Bears get a tremendous turnover.
I told you about Anthony Adams early on, and he takes advantage of the replacement. Adam Coates. This thing really never came close. You're going to see Adams breaking through the backfield. And Jacobs, I think, had his eye on Anthony Adams.
Right.
And just peeled away a little bit from that handoff. And as he did that, his arms closed down without the ball. And there's the break that the Bears were looking for.
Chris Harris recovers. Can they capitalize? The Giants then back the first pass away. And that's Dave Tollefson. Let's see if we can check out Jacobs' eyes as he's taking the handoff, and he knows that Adams is right there.
Well, let's take a look. Anthony Adams coming in there, and you could see Eli trying to really stretch to get that ball because really Jacobs was breaking away before the handoff was made, and it just created the confusion. You can see he clamped down his hands before he had the ball in his belly.
2nd turnover for the Giants. Come on, now Forte. There's some running room. He takes the ball to the 22-yard line. Remember, Bradshaw shaken. Jacobs back on the bench after the fumble. 3rd down and 3 with 11.5 to go.
And they've got to calm Brandon Jacobs down. We've already seen earlier this year he got mad, threw his helmet, apparently accidentally threw it in the stands in Indianapolis. But this game may now ride on his shoulders as they try and run it out with the lead.
3rd and 3. And that pass to the outside is too far. Forte covered on the play by Michael Boley. There we go. 2nd and 2 at the 38-yard line. Nix was across what would have been the 1st down line, and then backs up and gets hit there, and that's going to spot the ball about a half-yard away from a 1st down.
Tell you this, Akeem Nicks has some sticky hands, doesn't he? This was some catch. He comes in, looks like he's comes to a stop and has to reach back out, catch it, and is still making a move. The thing that I really like about him is he's making moves as he catches the ball, and that really makes it tough on those defensive players because they're sort of watching the ball too, and pretty impressive.
Jacobs is back in now on 3rd down and 1. Up in a tight formation, strong side left. There goes Jacobs, and there's Jacobs to the 43-yard line. Contact at the line of scrimmage, and then he plows through, tackled by Harris on a 1st down.
Tell you, then you're starting to see some of the power package here. Sean Andrews comes in over here at the tight end, and watch him cave this down. This is what they've been looking for. They think Andrews ultimately could end up being a guy that could play tackle for them, and this was kind of close. Let's see if Jacobs, and he almost lost the ball again.
Toss to Bradshaw. Bradshaw able to get to the outside and turns that into a nice gain as the ball will get spotted just short of a first down, and Bradshaw has now gained over 100 yards. That's 106 on 20 totes.
Yeah, we were talking about it. Julius Peppers likes to crash down on those runs, so that's that little quick flip to get it out there. And there may be one defensive end in the game that can run down Ahmad Bradshaw on that play, and it was necessary.
20 carries, he had 20 on opening day against Carolina, tying a career high. Clips it here with a first down to the 45-yard line. Let's check in with Andrea.
Well, we're not getting any more official word from the Bears about Jay Cutler's concussion, but I texted General Manager Jerry Angelo, who told me that Cutler had symptoms at halftime and they ruled him out. I asked him if Cutler would travel home from the team with the team, and he replied, "I believe he will."
All right, so I'm sure there he is right there. We think that's exactly where it took place toward the end of the first half on the sack by Aaron Ross. And the Bears will next play in Carolina. Go to Charlotte next Sunday. And it slides to his left, hits Nix, and that's another 9-yard gain. So the Giants picking up nice little chunks of yardage here and using the clock very effectively halfway through the quarter.
Yeah, and the Bears really have no choice now but to start bringing their safeties down and playing some single coverage. You'll see Chris Harris now starting to creep down to help against the run, and that puts these corners out there one-on-one, and that's not really what this team is built to do. They prefer to not put that kind of pressure on their corners. Good read by Eli, realizing that now the Bears are changing up a bit.
Second down and 1. Bradshaw through the middle. And the ball is taken away by Bowman. Bowman strips him, and Chicago has it. And you could see him coming from behind. And that's all the Bears do in practice. Strip, 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 fumble, turnover. Is the running back here. Going to air it out, underthrows it, but adjusting and making the catch is Nix. He's going to try to crawl into the end zone, but he was down at the 1-yard line. Adjusted on the coverage by Zachary Bowman, and that's 30 yards of the first and goal.
Well, first things first, watch Ahmad Bradshaw here with the blitz pickup. Last week he cut a guy, this week he goes high, and Eli has time to throw it down the field. And there he is again. Stick him on those hands, baby. That's a heck of a catch. So for Bowman, one good, one bad. Look at this guy. I really enjoy watching him play. He has a bit of magic catching the football.
First round pick last year. Here's Jacobs, and Jacobs pulls his way into the end zone for a Giants touchdown.
And they can't even convert a third down, not one in the ball game. What a brilliant performance by the Giants.
Again, with a defense that was minus a couple of very key figures today.
Now Todd Collins down.
Oh, yeah, and Collins is really shaken up as Boley came in. And Caleb Haney is their number 3 quarterback, and with Cutler out with a concussion and Collins clearly in distress right now, that is the most likely scenario as Haney gets loose on the sideline.
Well, the Giants obviously with no fear now. They're going to send Michael Boley off the slot here, and Todd Collins obviously never sees him. And it has been an ugly night for Chicago Bear quarterbacks.
So Haney in his 3rd season out of Colorado State, and he's been the number 3 quarterback, which means you're in effect inactive unless you have injuries to the first 2, and that's the case right here. And you can come in the 4th quarter as well. It looks like Collins may be trying to gather himself and get back into the game if he can. Second down and 5 now. over the middle, and that would figure, huh? It's Johnny Knox, and he's been silent tonight, and he makes the catch at the 42-yard line.
Caleb Haney looked over to the sideline like, are you coming in to get me? And he said, heck no, that's the first down we've had in 2 hours. And there's Johnny Knox, who Perry Fuel said he thought was the #1 Bears threat. And of course, the snap count, nobody's even heard
False
Caleb
start,
Haney
number
do
78, offense. 5-yard penalty, first down.
Kevin Schaefer. So 26-yard pass play. And then the false start here and make it first down and 15.
And you know, sort of the frightening part about this for Bears fans, obviously you want first and foremost to be concerned about the health of Jay Cutler, but with the concussion concerns in the NFL now, will he be able to play next week, the week after? It's hard to know.
First and 15. That's, you know, Chris, we were talking about the Bears come in, they want to show they're as good as their record. And all of a sudden, you've got some questions tonight where everybody's got to go, well, wait a minute, what happened to this offense? What's going on here? What are we doing?
Yeah, especially, you know, when you consider that they just got finished playing Green Bay and Dallas, two of the very best defenses in football, and they beat Dallas down there and made Dallas's defense look a little vulnerable, which they very rarely do. And then to come back up here against the Giants defense that looked better last week, but you wouldn't have said with some of the injuries were, you know, top of the line. And then this.
Second and 15. That's caught by Olsen, but that will be only a short gain, as that was thrown into a lot of traffic. And that'll make it to third and long.
But you think about Perry Fuel and the job that he's done now for the New York Giants. And we talked about it a little bit earlier, but Mike Martz, you anticipated, okay, it's going to take him a little while to grow into this offense. And here's a guy that was the head coach of the Buffalo Bills for a while, thought he might have gotten the job the following year as well, didn't. And for the New York Giants, with all the problems they had defensively a season ago, to get this kind of turnaround now in their defense has to be exciting.
Third and 10. And that's exciting as well. That's Justin Tuck with the sack. Situation. He could have taken all of his timeouts. It's a 2-possession game. He had the 2-minute warning as well. He chose not to take him on the other side of the break.
He was out of quarterbacks.
He's out of quarterbacks. He's out of offense. And in effect, they get 2 chances. None and none. Look out. And now 3 chances. None and none. Brandon Jacobs around the corner, run out by Danielle Manning.
Yeah, this is an offensive line that maybe wasn't quite as good early on, but they did come on here late. Bear Pasco from the fullback position has played a really nice game on that long run by Ahmad Bradshaw. He had the key block on that one as well. And Madison Hedgecock has, especially the first game of the year, wasn't so good. This may become a bit of an answer now for their running game. Maybe Bear Pasco comes in and makes them a little better.
Jacobs lost the ball at the end of the play. Gets back on it on the 5-yard line with a minute and a half, and Lovey's just going to let the clock wind down. It'll be first down and goal.
Getting a little slick with the running game now. Watch Kevin Boss come over here and kick out Julius Peppers, and Brandon Jacobs stayed right on the hole. So even defensively now, they've finally given it up. Their offense gave them nothing to even hope for tonight.
And, you know, Coughlin knows that Lovey's not calling timeouts. The game is over. You know, it's a 2-possession game with all the timeouts, and the Giants are just going to take a knee right now. He says, hey, look, you know, I respect what you're doing, and I'm not going to pour it on right now. Some of the crowd boos. I don't know why, because everything that they might have had in mind has already been taken care of.
It was a tremendous. You're the worst. You are the worst.
Well, I have to get it in, right? You understand when the New York crowd boos in a situation like this, it always has something to do with you know what. But tonight it really doesn't.
Wanting to win the game. That's exactly right. Giants football tonight, though.
Yep.
And for the Bears, still 3-1, still atop the division, but it feels a little different right now,
doesn't it? And the Giants go to 2-2, which is the same record of the Philadelphia Eagles, the Washington Redskins, and Dallas 1-2 with a bye.